Last year, my best friend and I decided to experiment with a Ouija board, just to see if it worked. We made our own out of paper and used a regular drinking glass as a pointer, so we were pretty skeptical, but we were in for a shock. It took a while for the board to warm up, but once it did, it became apparent that we were surrounded by relatives who had passed away. The glass moved extremely slowly, and there was nothing scary being said or done. However, halfway through our session, two of our other friends came bursting into the room, laughing and joking. Once they calmed down, we got back to the board. This time, the glass moved extremely fast. We could hardly keep our fingers on it. It started spelling out names and words without us even asking questions. The words spelled out included murder and lust. We ended the session immediately as we were pretty freaked out. After that, everything went back to normal for a few days, but then I started waking up at 3 a.m. every night with an unexplained feeling of dread. This waking up continued for a few weeks, and I started becoming depressed for no reason. Then, one night, at about 1 in the morning, my friend was walking me home. As we were walking up the road, he claimed he saw a black figure of a man leaning on a fence staring at us. We laughed and joked about the place being haunted. We used to hear bells chiming every night on that road. That night, I woke up again, but this time I was being pinned face down on my bed by what felt like a man. I tried to struggle, but I couldn't move. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. He started speaking in my ear, but I don't know what he said. Then he was gone. I hid under my covers, like that would help, and soon fell asleep. When I woke up the next morning, I put it down to a nightmare, though it felt so real. A few days later, we had a family visiting. My grandma, who claims to be very perceptive, came in and she said she felt that there was a presence in the house. My mom said she thought so too, ever since I'd done a Ouija board in my bedroom, but she didn't think it was harmful. My grandma disagreed and said she thought it was evil. The next bit is really hard for me to explain, as I don't really know how I felt. As they were arguing, I began to get the same dreadful feeling I had so many other nights, and I began to feel something was wrong. It felt as though I was being pulled into a tunnel further and further away from the room I was in. I tried to tell my mom I didn't feel right, but I couldn't make myself talk or move. It felt as though something was trying to control me. I finally managed to make myself talk, but I screamed it. "There's something wrong with me." The next thing I knew, my sister was beside me, hugging me, and I was crying and shaking uncontrollably. My family said I'd have what looked like some kind of seizure. We got a priest to bless the house, and while he was doing so, all the pipes in the house made a huge screaming noise. They didn't stop till he'd finished the prayer. After everything went back to normal, I still can't explain what happened to me. It scares me to even think of it. This happened in Mobile, Alabama in about 2008. One afternoon, some friends and I decided to make a homemade Ouija board. We tried it out a couple of times, but nothing seemed to happen. A few weeks passed, and a friend who lived with me at the time and I were looking at some photos of us at a club on my computer. We started to talk about how some orbs appeared only around us in the pictures. Then, we got on the subject about ghosts. She got up from the computer and sat on the couch with my brother. When I got up and walked towards them, my computer screen suddenly shut off and turned back on. Then, the light next to the couch faded and turned a darkish red. Everyone got the chills. We shrugged it off until a few days later. I lost $100 that I had sworn I put in my dresser drawer. My mom and I looked everywhere around the house, including countless times in the drawer. Then, out of nowhere, my mom found the money in the same drawer, on top of everything in it. I was starting to think that we attracted a ghost through the Ouija board. My suspicions were correct. When one morning my favorite stuffed animal was missing, I thought maybe someone was playing a prank on me because I knew I put it in my mom's room next to the bed. I looked everywhere and still couldn't find it. I asked my friend who was in the shower if she had moved it. Well, of course she hadn't. I became so frustrated. I knew that it had to be because of something paranormal because these things did not occur until we made that Ouija board. I decided to take the Ouija board to the dumpster and get rid of it for good. When I walked back inside, my friend was out of the shower and she said, "Well, I found your stuffed animal." I asked, "Well, where was it?" She replied, "Oh, I saw it when I got out of the shower. It was right next to the door in the empty laundry basket." My heart dropped. Nothing strange has happened since. This happened around 2002 in Germany. I was about 11 years old, and this was my very first experience. My sister, who was 12 years old, decided to try a Ouija session with little self-made cards on which the letters were drawn, a table, and a glass. She and two classmates were in the living room of our little apartment. My mother had a Ouija experience when she was young and was fine with my curious sister's idea, and she took me and my little brother to the kitchen to not disturb her. We waited for some minutes in there. I stared lazily at the door to the corridor. The door was mostly glass and I could see everything that was going on behind it. Then, I saw a person walk past the kitchen. He could only have come from the living room and seemingly was headed for the exit. I was puzzled. First, the man was pitch black and as tall as an ordinary grown-up. Second, there was no audible sound of the living room door nor footsteps. He could not have been there. Well, I brushed it off. I believe my mind was playing tricks on me. Then, my little brother, who sat across from me, asked, "Did you see that shadow too?" I was astonished, and we shared impressions. Shortly after that, my sister and her friends came into the kitchen and stated that the session just ended because the spirit left. This was the start of a paranormal activity around us. Even as we moved on to another house, it went on. Because of my sister's innocent curiosity in the Ouija board, our home became haunted. It started in most cases when it got dark and our parents went to sleep. So they never witnessed anything and thought we were kinda nuts. It was hard. Light switched on when my sister and I headed for the dark room. There were many things, from shadows to lights going on and off, to knocks on doors, to doors that flew open and footsteps and even cold spots. There was also an extremely nasty smell in one of the bathrooms. It came without warning and quickly left. It was clear that this was no normal smell that you could imagine existing in the bathroom. It was like something foul had lain in the tub for a long time. Once something pushed on my mattress from beneath when I was laying on it and reading a comic. When we were 16 and 15, it all ended because we started to ignore every unnatural occurrence. We had no nerve or power left to stand any more of this game. Fortunately, the spirits cooperated, and I haven't seen or felt any more paranormal activity since. If you like what you heard, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. If you'd like to, you can follow me at Twitter. The handle is @FuzzyPantaloons, and I'll see you all next time.